I thought I'd install Linux to get away from my distractions a little bit. That did not work out. Now this Legion laptop used to run Windows, and I used to use Lenovo Legion Toolkit to manage it. So I wanted to find an alternative that worked on Linux. This software on GitHub did the trick, and after installing it, you run it through the command line, and yeah, this pops up, and it looks really nice, and it basically has all the features that you would find on Windows, like the conservation mode and pad and rapid charging, and it works really well. So I think the reason that it wasn't working correctly is because this data drive is formatted in NTFS and it wasn't mounting correctly. Adding these two parameters at the end seems to have fixed it. And now I can use Steam to run Windows games using Proton. And in times like this, when BeamNG has not responded 10 times, I resort to using Wine. So the setup process wasn't actually the smoothest. I got the NVIDIA drivers installed, but on X11 the brightness wasn't changing. Like I wasn't able to control the brightness of the display. But when I turned on hybrid mode, on X11 it would just kind of it wouldn't work as well as it did on Wayland. And on Wayland, it would give me problems with Blender, like the viewport would just become transparent. So I signed in using Wayland to try and recreate the issue that I was facing in Blender. And there seems to have been some software update from the time of the issue to the time of recording, and that has fixed this issue. Now another issue that I have is that on Kdenlive, MP4 files don't have any video. For example, this is an MP4 file which works just fine in VLC and in the video player. But in Kdenlive, it just shows up as an audio file. Okay, so I use DaVinci Resolve to edit my videos, and whenever I try to install it on Linux on Fedora, this happens. I already have zlib installed, so I don't know why this is happening. I read the installation instructions and nothing, so it doesn't say anything about this. Okay, so I managed to get DaVinci Resolve installed using help from the Blackmagic forum, but now the problem is that just like here in live, MP4 files don't show a video output. Now I wasn't able to find any solutions for either of these issues. So if you do figure something out, please do let me know in the comments below. I didn't find any working alternatives for SpotX, which is a patched Spotify client that worked for me on Linux. So there are a bunch of them available on GitHub, but I tried them and it didn't work. So what I've been doing right now is just running Spotify off the browser, and then have these extensions that kind of that just block the ads. Now another issue that I sometimes face is that Bluetooth devices, especially like headsets, if they have a conference mode, it doesn't pair correctly when the laptop wakes from sleep. So most of the time whenever it like tries to reconnect automatically, it goes into this like weird mode where the audio quality isn't any good, and I'll have to disconnect and reconnect Bluetooth for it to connect again, and then everything's fine. It's a little bit inconvenient, that's all. This is how it looks by default. And with a couple of mods, you can make it look like this, which I think looks a lot better. I don't want to make this a customization video, but if you're interested in the mods, here they are. So one of the extensions that I want to bring your attention to is called Pop! OS Shell. It basically brings the i3 desktop environment to GNOME, and it looks really clean. So there's this other extension, it's called Spacebar, and what it does is it brings workspaces using the i3 keyboard shortcut. So if I do Win1, I go to my first desktop, then there's the second one, and so on. So yeah, it works that way. So Pop! OS Shell along with Spacebar looks something like this, and it looks quite nice. So when I started this challenge, I thought that after the 30 days I'd be back, back into Windows. But since then, I have grown to like Fedora in particular. I had tried Ubuntu before this, but Ubuntu is, I've heard bad things about Canonical. So I decided to try Fedora, and I like Fedora. And I think I will continue to stay on this because for what I need to do on a computer, this is perfectly fine. It has also encouraged me to find ways to solve the problems that I have encountered along the way. Some of them took a little bit more time that I would have liked, because I had to, do a little bit of reading up and then actually figure out how to solve the issue for myself. But other than that, if you have some free time and you're willing to try out a new experience, then I feel like this entire process is worth it. And yeah, that's it.